Hello, everyone. Only 15 days before Christmas. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm not ready.
Today, we are going to talk about the medical exam that people must have to be allowed into the United States. I'm Raluca, and my law firm handles cases in the areas of immigration, family law, and estate planning. And my marketing and office manager, Nina Clear, is here with me. We appreciate your likes and, of course, everyone who watches and your shares and comments, because they all help to other people to see our videos.
Okay, so let's talk about who needs the medical exam. Is it every person who enters the United States?
No, the medical exam applies to those applying for a green card overseas or here in the United States, such as through a fiancé visa, and also for a fiancé visa when you apply overseas, because they are presuming you will stay in the U.S. after you marry.
And does that include any children?
Yes.
Where do they need to get the exam? So by that I mean, can they go to their family doctor and have it done?
No, usually the doctor has to be approved. The clinic has to be on an approved list of clinics or doctors in each country, so probably not.
Okay, and not usually, always, right? The doctor has to be approved.
All the consulates, they will provide a list with the doctors that they approve in that country. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how do I find that approved list?
Well, each consulate will have one, or USCIS also has a list that we'll post it here and below under this video. So if you're in the United States, you can find it on the list on USCIS website.
Okay, and how much does the examination cost?
It really depends on each doctor and each clinic, and the amounts that I've heard, at least in the United States, vary from $175 to $700. So you really need to call before you go. And
the same outside the U.S. too. Some of them I saw were like $270 U.S. or more. So, okay. So you need to bring anything with you?
Yes. Usually you need to bring your vaccination and immunization records and any prior chest x-rays, copies from your medical history records. And they do that just to check and to know that you're not a healthier imposter comes there. They also want you to bring your passport or an identity card or a travel document to check your identity.
Okay, so family history. My dad's dad came from Ireland, and I was always told that he used his brother's passport because he had had rheumatic fever, and they didn't let people in the U.S. with rheumatic fever. Of course, when we did the genealogy, we found out that that was a big lie and that wasn't true, and he came over on his own passport, so he came legally. But, you know, people have done that if they had something, and the family was like, oh, okay, he's the most important to go, so we're going to get him there. So that's why they checked that.
That's why they probably have all these rules today.
Yeah. And there's also the I-693. Do you need to bring that with you?
The I-693 is that form that the doctor has to fill out with your information, and all that. It depends on the clinic that you go, but in United States, usually the doctor fills that out. You don't have to bring it with you.
So probably call them and just check with the doctor's office. How much is it going to cost, and what do you need me to bring, and are you going to have that form?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what do they do at the medical exam?
The doctor will review your medical history, and they will complete the physical. They will take some blood for tests, and they will do a chest x-ray. Usually children under 15 are not required to do a chest x-ray or blood test, but of course, if they suspect that they might have have been exposed to some diseases, they might.
And everybody over age 2 has to get a TB test as well.
Yes.
So is there anything that might keep you from being approved for like a medical reason?
Yes, there are a number of illnesses that people have that may keep them from being approved for an immigration benefit. So for a green card application or fiancé visa. So some of them, for example, is TB or syphilis.
And is there anything you can do if you have those diseases?
If they have had a treatment, that they can submit documentation explaining the treatment received by the doctor. It's possible that they are approved. Also, there is a waiver that they can apply for certain conditions.
Okay. And do you have to have vaccinations? I guess I'm used to people, my sister's gone to Africa several times, and before she goes, she always has to get certain shots. So, which keeps me from going to Africa. So, do they have to have them coming here?
Yes. There is a whole list of required vaccinations. And if they haven't received them or have no records of having received them, they will need to work with the panel doctor to determine which they need to get. And they have to get them before they come.
So they do have to get them before they come here?
Yes.
Okay. So how long does it take to receive the report from the doctor?
Again, it depends on the doctor. Some take 3 to 10 days to send the report, to give you the report, or some they send it directly to the consulate. It depends on the country.
So I've heard kind of try to get your doctor's appointment about 3 weeks before your consulate interview. Does that sound like a good?
It depends.
Yes.
I mean, I had clients that were they were making the appointment even a few days before the interview, because that's what the doctors told them, that they will give them the information
In a timely manner.
in a very time. Yes.
Okay.
They actually didn't want to do it earlier than that.
Oh, okay.
It depends, I guess.
And can you see your results?
You need to ask the doctor about that, but what is very, very important to know is that the doctor will give you a sealed envelope, and you're not allowed to open it. So don't open it. And this envelope is going to be opened only by USCIS. And you can ask, like I said, the doctor if they will give you results for your own file, but that is up to each doctor's protocol.
So if I heard you right at the very beginning, you said that you need to get the medical exam when you want your fiancé visa and then when applying for your green card. Is that right?
Yes, but if you apply for your green card after having come to the U.S. on a fiancé or a K-1 visa, you may not have to get the medical exam again.
So how do you avoid that?
You have to meet certain conditions and also to apply within a year of your previous medical exam.
Okay, so that brings us to the question when, which we talked about a little bit, when you should get your exam.
So you should have done this prior to your consulate interview for sure, because if you do it after, it may slow down the process of your visa application. And here in the United States, it's a little bit complicated, and we'll talk about it immediately.
Oh, okay. So we all know that there's a policy that went into effect in September that changed things a bit, or drastically, actually. It's changed.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So as I said, it got a little bit more complicated in the United States, and very briefly, USCIS no longer needs to send an RFE, which is a request for evidence, if your application requires more information. So now if you don't send everything in your application, they can reject it outright and saying it is missing information.
And you've seen that happening to your clients, right?
I did. Unfortunately, I did see it with my own clients, and I have talked and seen other attorneys, immigration attorneys across the U.S. that have been seeing it.
Okay. And does that impact the medical examination requirement?
It may. So previously, when someone filed for an I-485, an application for a green card, once they had an interview scheduled with the USCIS, they would go to have their medical examination and take that with them to the interview, because usually the examination is good for 6 months, and it took longer for them to go to the interview, so we didn't want that medical examination to expire. Now, some attorneys have said that applications could be rejected with no medical examination when you first file. So I will explain this to my clients, and we decide together if they want to send a medical examination with the first filing of the I-485. The rules of today actually say that you do not need to send it, but things change all the time in immigration, so I would be prepared to change this practice if it does.
And like you said, the medical exam is usually only good for 6 months. So if you did send it in with the I-485 initially, it could be too old when you finally get to your interview,
yes,
right?
Yes, you can go to the interview. Maybe you're scheduled for your interview after almost a year. Now your examination, medical examination expires, so you need to pay again and do it again. So it's an economic burden, but also unpleasant to go get the blood test to get.
Right. But you'd hate for their, if USCIS decides, or one person at USCIS, that's the problem we've seen, is there's not consistent application across the board. So if one person decided they're going to reject it, then it might be better to have it done twice, because at least it's being processed.
Exactly. It depends. I guess you need to make a decision and think if you want to make sure they don't reject it, you just send it the first time, or just take the risk.
Right, because they're not going to reject it if it has the medical exam.
Yes, it would not. They would not.
They would just reject it if they decided they needed that.
Exactly.
And it didn't.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.